The Lion's Den Hotel is the starting point for this leg of our adventure. Hello, Simon and Maureen Forrest from Extracting the Richness. We've travelled from Adelaide to the tip of Cape York and now we're returning to our home via a circuitous route to Adelaide. Join us as we start at the Lion's Den Hotel. We drive across the Bloomfield Track to Cape Tribulation and back, and then we have 3 first-class tourism experiences: Paronella Park, the Undara Caves, and the third one, well, you'll just have to keep watching to see that one.
We are at the Lion's Den Hotel, which is about half an hour away from Cooktown, and we've come here for pre-dinner drinks for a very special birthday celebration, and the scenery around us is just magnificent. We're camped down there somewhere by a creek, and we've come up here to the bar and dining room area for dinner. Beautiful scenery, beautiful weather, top night about to be had. Very quirky. It reminds me of Dirty Waters a little bit. I'm just crazy about you, babe.
My song to you, Simon.
Why the lyrics come up?
On your birthday.
Come back again. I'm just crazy about you, babe.
I did organise this guy to come for Simon's birthday tonight. What a whiz I am.
Birthday celebrations done, the next morning we set off across the Bloomfield Track. It's steep, it's windy, it's slippery, it's rough, but it's got beautiful scenery.
Here we are at Cape Tribulation. Simon's worn out because he's just completed the Bloomfield Track, but he has to go back.
Between the crocodiles and the stingers, this beach is unswimmable, but the scenery is really something special. When the forest meets the sand, you've always got great scenery, and that's what Cape Tribulation has. What we do is have lunch sitting under the trees in the warmth whilst protected from the sun. Lunch done, it's back on the Bloomfield Track, back to the Lion's Den for dinner again at the pub. Like many outback pubs, and this is no different, the thing to do is to nail a piece of autographed clothing to a part of the structure, and to find a place to write your name. This pub, this whole location has a great vibe, and I really enjoyed it and would go back there again in a heartbeat. But after dinner, the next day it's time to move on and we drive our way to Cairns. Our site in the caravan park in Cairns is a bit tight, but we managed to manoeuvre ourselves into position and can't complain because right next to it is this beautiful scenery with a flowing creek. How good is that? We do the shopping, the washing, go to the market and catch up with some friends who we've known for many years and who used to live in Adelaide but now live in Cairns. One of the things I really enjoy about far north Queensland, tropical Queensland, is you can eat outside so often in beautiful temperature. I just love it. But it's time to leave Cairns and head towards Paronella Park. Paronella Park. We have been trying to get to Paronella Park for years. In 1913, a Spanish migrant from Catalonia, Jose Paronella, came out to Australia, to Queensland, and he worked for 11 years cutting cane, buying property and improving it and selling it for cane farming and working in the tin mines. And he bought 13 acres for about £120 in 1929. He had a vision. His vision was to build gardens and a reception centre that contained ballrooms, cinemas, lit stages, waterfalls, dining halls, tennis courts, swimming pools, garden trails, just unbelievable. It is something you've just got to go and see. Now, there's an amazing story about how, after the death of Jose Paronella, the park started to fall into disrepair. In recent years, another family has bought the park and have repaired it to the wonderful thing it is today to tour. But there's even a more interesting story about how a member of Jose Paranella's family came into contact with the family that have repaired the park. It's worth going into Google and checking out that story. There's a daytime tour and a nighttime tour, and we did both of them, and we're so glad that we did, because you see the park from different perspectives, obviously. They were both really, really good. Love and care. I often describe places like caravan parks, campsites, tourist attractions as places where someone has shown a lot of love, a lot of care, and Paronella Park is one of those places. In fact, before the evening tour began, the owner of the park came down and gave a little spiel about the park and the history of the park. And I suspect he does this every night, twice a night, because there are evening tours. Now that is love, that is devotion. Part of the evening tour is watching the castle, the structure, the monument, bathed in light which changes colour, and changes colour according to the music that's playing as well. Really something special. Then there's the fountains. So where did we stay while we spent 2 days visiting Paronella Park?
So this is the campground called the Paddock behind the Minna Creek Hotel, which is all part of Paronella Park. This is really well done.
Just like Paronella Park, this caravan park is another example of love and care. Just to show you how well appointed this caravan park is, here's the laundry. Have a look at this. Washing machines, dryers, heaps of space, beautifully clean. You really couldn't ask for more in a caravan park. And adjacent to the caravan park is the Minna Creek Hotel. What a beautiful setting for an afternoon drink. Cheers. We've woken up to a bit of a cloudy day today, based at the Paddock, the Paronella Park caravan park, but we've driven out to the Manu Tropical Forest Skywalk, which is a World Heritage listed area. And we are really looking forward to it. We love skywalks. So here we go. One of the interesting features about this tour is that in the documentation, once you buy your tickets, it tells you to download an app called the Manu Skywalk app, and then to download the version of your language. So we had to download obviously the PDF for the English language, but as you're going along there are these numbers on the ground, and you hit that number in the app and a voice tells you what's going on around you in the forest. A really fantastic piece of technology. A lesser piece of technology we found this morning trying to book two things is that often the information, especially the availability of tours and campsites on the website, is nowhere near up to date. So twice this morning we've thought, oh, we're not going to see these particular tours, one of Cobbold Gorge and one of the Undara Caves, because the website seemed to indicate, or did indicate, that there was no availability. However, we rang the people, rang the office. Yeah, of course you can get in, so we're laughing. But the point is the websites are often not up to date. Anyway, we continue the walk of this rainforest. We've been walking for about 10 minutes now, and one of the most amazing things about these tropical rainforests is the density of the growth. It's just every few centimetres there's another trunk coming out of the ground and another tree. And they are tall, all looking for the light, I suppose. But the point is, there are just so many of them in such a small space. It's a great feeling. And now we're entering the cantilever, which seems to go at about, I don't know, 40 metres. Here we go, a bit bouncy. We're about 40 metres above the ground as well. Spectacular, spectacular.
A bouncing cantilever. I think Simon's bouncing it. We're a long way up. What did it say, 40 metres?
40 metres above the ground we are.
Oh, God. No pushing.
This is Maureen listening to her audio on the walking trail. This part of the walk is on an elevated walkway, nowhere near as high above the ground, I think, but still a great walkway with amazing views, because we are at the tops of some of the trees. Some of them still go above us, but as I said earlier, it's a great piece of infrastructure with really beautiful views. And we're here on a pretty calm, not clear, but calm day. Just here you can see a branch growing out of this tree with leaves growing out of that branch. Now that branch which is just there was a dormant leaf bud under the bark of that tree until the leaves on the canopy got damaged, and because the tree couldn't get enough light, these buds then force their way from under the bark and grow a branch, and then eventually grow leaves, hoping to attract enough light to help the tree grow. Unbelievable. And in front of us, a great example of a tree that's host to a beautiful vine-like climber. And up it goes. Finally, light. We come to the tower, as you can see, but we're not going up the tower, we're just going out to the end of the walkway. Walking in this rainforest tour reminds me of travelling in Tasmania, because every time we turned a corner in Tasmania we would say, oh, another beautiful bay. Now every time on this on this walk, when you get a view through the undergrowth, it's another view of a beautiful mountain setup. It's the same mountains, but the aspect is different every time. It's an amazing piece of infrastructure and lots of beautiful views and lots of really good and relevant information about the rainforest. We're just leaving the Mamu Skywalk, which as you can tell was really, really good. And the lady who was running the office, she was fantastic. First of all, she offered us, and we took one of her homegrown passion fruit, so that'll be on a little bit of ice cream tonight for dessert. But as we were leaving, I noticed a sign called the Cassowary Art Trail. And so I said to her, what is it? And she replied that it was basically a map of a series of galleries called the Cassowary Art Trail. I said, oh, okay. I said, my wife is really wanting to see a cassowary in the wild. She said, well, drive down not very far from here, I think it's probably 20 k's in all, to a place called Etty Bay, and you should see the local cassowary hangs out in Etty Bay. So we're about to drive to Etty Bay, and hopefully the cassowary will be available, will be on site, we'll be able to see him. Apparently it's a male cassowary bird, so we're looking forward to it. Disappointing, to say the least. We drove down to Etty Bay, went through about 3 or 4 signs about be careful because of the cassowaries, don't run over the cassowaries. Drove right down to the beach, had a look around, cannot see a cassowary. So cassowary sighting, not happening. Driving back now to Innisfail to get some fuel and maybe some lunch. We've just arrived in the very pretty and beautifully maintained town of Ravenshoe. Now what's interesting about this place is it is the highest town in all of Queensland. In fact, we did have to climb, but not extensively. We've had bigger climbs in Queensland, but this is the highest town in Queensland.
very green, very lovely. About 10 days ago probably, we were on Thursday Island, and we were at Australia's most northerly pub, the Torres Hotel. Now we're in Ravenshoe at Queensland's highest pub, not Australia's highest pub, as was the Torres, Australia's most northerly pub, but this is Queensland's highest pub. Obviously Ravenshoe is known for its timber, because it's cold, wet, high, humid, so timber is obviously a big part of the town, but how's this for a seat? Very clever.
We're driving between Mina Creek and Lava Tubes. We have to go through the Atherton Mountains. So all the way it is just beautiful scenery, steep climbs, and then descents, roadworks, but all this beautiful scenery. Getting thicker.
Fog thick, road as rough as guts. Steep climb, it's all good. Hey, the Atherton Tablelands, we're here. Oh, beautiful. It is a beautiful place, there's no question.
No wonder they can grow stuff
Yeah,
here.
it's just fantastic.
Cold and wet. Oh, it's not really cold, it's humid and wet.
Warm and wet, perfect growing conditions. Look at those little gardens on the side. Beautiful.
And today there are two significant things happening. One, we have started the journey west. So we travelled north from Adelaide to get to the top of Cape York, the tip of Cape York, and then of course once there we started to travel south. We travelled south as far as Mina Creek, and this morning we've left Mina Creek and have travelled through Ravenshoe, and now we are definitely travelling west. We'll go west probably now because of the rain. We won't go down through Birds, we will end up going down the Stewart Highway, we think. But the second thing that has happened to us today is that we are leaving the Great Dividing Range. We have been travelling in the Great Dividing Range for days now, going up and down, in beautiful country, foggy, sunny, clear. It had everything, but we are definitely starting to leave the range. We've got a few more hills to go, I think, and then we'll be out of it completely. One of the things that has surprised me is at the Undara Lava Tube accommodation, which is all run by Discovery, which is all run by Discovery. The infrastructure is amazing. Now we are over at just at the Bar Bistro, and there must be seating here for about 250 people, and you cannot get a booking here tonight. It's booked out. Tonight is also the State of Origin Rugby League decider, so that'll be part of the reason. But as well as the State of Origin game, there's live music down here where you can see the microphones set up. Down through there you might be able to see and I'll go and take a better shot later on, but down there is a big fire pit, a communal fire pit. And out here is a beautiful bushland setting. Just have a look at that. And this is this whole area. Now we are on site number 755. So,
And there's more.
and we're not on the highest number site, so God knows how many sites there are. There are cabins, luxury tents, powered sites, unpowered sites, camp kitchens. We're not squashed in. We've got a big site which I'll show you later on. But this is the most amazing place, and what really amazes me is sort of how far we are from any major town or city, and yet because of these lava tubes, the infrastructure has just grown and people have flocked to it. Wonderful times, wonderful weather. We're walking on one of the many paths in this accommodation back to where our caravan site is, having been up to the bar. And in a minute I'll show you the tents and caravans, just a fraction of them. This has more or less become the morning ritual. Get up and go out and turn Starlink on, which is contained in the car. Hit my Starlink switch and the red light tells me that Starlink is on. Now it's time to make the morning coffee. This is the coffee making machine setup. Coffee machine, milk,
coffee, all the works here. Lucky Maureen, your personal barista boy is here. There you go. You're looking beautiful.
Thank you, Simon, my barista boy. Always love my hot coffee in the morning.
So Morsey, what are we doing this morning?
Well, in a very short while we're walking down to get on a bus, and that bus is going to take us out to the Undara Lava Tubes. And we're spending 2 hours on a tour of the lava tubes.
What do you think we'll see?
Caves, a big cave entrance, water.
Was your previous occupation in tourism or marketing? Jeez, that's it. Well, we had an interesting conversation this morning, didn't we? Because we've been on the road now for 6 weeks, perhaps. I can't remember, I haven't looked at the diary, but about 6 weeks. And I think 2 things have happened. The first would be, do you think about slowing down? Do you think that's true?
Very much so. I've actually read a big part of my book, and that hasn't happened until just the last few days. So it's been go, go, go.
It has been go, go, go. Of course, that's partly probably because the goal was to get to the tip. And so we were driving from Adelaide to the tip of Queensland. So that was a long drive, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 kilometres. So we were mainly driving, camping. But now we're sort of in touring, stopping, looking at things, spending time. So
we'll have to do those 5,000 kilometres again, just as a touring exercise.
Not happening. Not happening.
Yeah. You can see the difference between attitudes to touring Australia between Simon and I.
Reality, the driver wins. The other interesting conversation we had this morning was about how this now seems like normal life rather than an aberration from our life at home. You think that's true, More?
Yeah, I think it is. Simon does his little jobs outside, sweeping up his new mat.
But all those things, but it just seems as though this
inside, and no, we seem to have our systems working at the moment.
Systems is one of the sort of principles, I think, of travelling in a caravan car, especially when things are pretty compact. We don't have a huge ute nor a huge van. There's just the 2 of us, so you do need systems, but we'll talk about that in another video. But it does seem like this is how we live now, in the caravan rather than at home. It's not true, of course. In a month's time we'll be home and it'll all be back to what it's always been.
And now it's time for the cave tour, which is obviously inside a national park.
Any further in, because as you look down deep into that lava tube, what you can see on the ground is not dirt. That is 15 metres of guano. Sits on the bottom of that lava tube. Yes, bats are very effective. Okay, we get a lot of microbats in our lava tubes. If there is a microbat down here today, please no flash photography on them. They are a super light sensitive animal.
So this lava tube is caused by lava flow, and then over thousands of years water seeps through, erodes the material over a long period of time that the lava is made of, and forms a lava tunnel, being different to a cave because a cave is a fracture or a fissure in the rock. This is actually caused by water flowing through the lava material.
These tours about the Earth's natural science are right up Maureen's alley. Everywhere we go, she really enjoys them. This was a top tour. It was a very easy walk, even though there were some steps involved. The guide was super informative and very entertaining. I felt as though I learnt something about the Earth, and I'm always amazed at the stories of the Earth's formation.
We're laughing because I have to re-record because I just made this recording a minute ago but without the sound on, so I didn't actually record it. Okay, starting again. We have come about 7 k's out of the Undara caravan park area to the Killarney circuit track. We're going up to see the rim of a volcano because this is actually a volcanic national park. The whole area is just filled with volcanoes. So we're going to walk up a path. Here's the path over here. We're going to walk up that path up to the rim of the volcano. I'm not sure we're going to walk right around it, but we're going to have a look down the rim. Okay, here we go. Once again, we're in one of those savanna lands. I think it's also called a dry eucalypt forest, but we're only about 1/6 of the way up this track, so we've got to keep going. I think we're a bit over halfway up this climb, and now we've got a great view of a mountain range out over the savannah. Well, I think we're nearly at the top. I think that was about 600 metres. Bit of a steady climb, but I think we're here. We're walking along now the rim of the crater, and you can actually pick out by the line of the trees the rim of the crater. We're not going to walk the whole way around. We've come up to get the view because we've had to walk up this path behind us. But on the other side of the crater, the other side of the rim, the outside so to speak, we now have this magnificent view.
The next morning we leave Undara and head towards the town of Forsyth, which we're going to use as our base whilst we explore Cobbold Gorge. Cobbold Gorge, what a gem. Obviously the tour centres around the gorge, and it's an excellent, well-led tour. Lots of information about the history of the gorge, the plants and the animals of the gorge and the general area. But there are 2 wonderful highlights. Before we get to them, a word about the tourism complex itself. We couldn't book a caravan site in the park. It was fully booked. Tells you about the popularity of the place. We stayed at Forsyth, about a 50-kilometre drive from Cobbold Gorge. The complex, both amazingly and surprisingly, has a sophisticated reception area, a well-stocked bar and cafe, outdoor dining area, infinity pool, a boating swimming lake and a fleet of buses. Importantly for us, it has lots of well-maintained and easy to negotiate tracks. A lot of love and care is invested in this complex. Now the 2 highlights. A glass bridge has been built across part of the gorge. Walking on it is great fun, looking straight down into the water of the gorge. Surprisingly, not as unnerving as I thought it would be. Why are we wearing the blue booties, usually seen in TV shows when the forensic scientists attend murder scenes? I'll tell you the answer in a minute. The bridge, an amazing piece of engineering, was built in 2019 at a cost of $1.2 million. $1.2 million for a glass bridge seems like a good deal to me. Apparently, a helicopter had to be brought from Sydney to lower the pieces of the bridge into position. The weight of the pieces required this particular helicopter. We spent a long time on the bridge, clearly mesmerised by the concept of looking down and seeing lots of daylight between our feet and the ground. And why the blue booties? To stop our shoes scratching the glass. The boat tour is the second highlight. Cobbold Gorge is narrow, in some places very narrow. Specially designed boats, very narrow boats, carry us along the gorge waterway. There are no normal seats, the boat is so narrow. So we sit on the extended gunnels. At times, the silence in the gorge can only be described as not a sound. Electric motors drive the boat, which only adds to the silence. And from the boat, we get another view of the glass bridge. The guide, well, he's full of local knowledge. He points out the tiny homes in rocks of snakes just above the waterline. He's got an amazing amount of knowledge about the animals and the plants in the area. This is a super tour, and we just feel lucky to have experienced it. And that's the end of Cobbold Gorge. The next morning we leave Cobbold Gorge and drive through the town of Georgetown and then on to Croydon, where we spend the night in the local rodeo ground, and then it's on to Normanton and Carumba. Carumba, what a place, but that's all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember,